Yes, we need to pay attention to that. But again, there are a few other issues out there, if we go global, that we need to focus on. The MSCI will also, I think that'll be next week. I think May the 14th or so, yes. Look at the Morgan Stanley Capital International Index, whether the global bond index for emerging markets were qualified for readmission.
So this is the MSCI Equity Index. If you recall, at the end of last year, there was a discussion, or I think in Q3 last year, there was a discussion about whether they were going to move Nigeria's stocks from Frontier Market Index to standalone status in response to our FX struggles. But after the NAFEX window came up and did a good job, MSCI was happy enough to retain us in that Frontier Market Index. Now, they haven't come out to say that they're considering us for an upgrade, but if you look at the way the index has behaved in the last 10 years or so, then Nigeria would be one of the countries that you would tip for an upgrade at this point. So at the moment, it's still an unlikely outcome, but it's something that would be positive should it coming, especially because, like we've just been talking about, the equity market has been a bit flat, and this would definitely provide a bit of a boost for it.
But what about the debt markets? You remember the Barclays Index and the MSCI emerging market bonds as well. Are we qualified now for readmission? Look at the rates, look at the position as far as the FX reserves is concerned, and what we're doing, tinkering with the entire treasury bills, outstanding balance portfolio, and how we've moved now, looking at single digit, at least on some of the tenored instruments.
Yeah, so that's the JP Morgan bond index, but it's unclear at the moment whether we're going to be re-included. I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago on the NAFEX anniversary that the investors and exporters window is what really will seal our fate. I'm not sure when next the JP Morgan committee is going to meet, but at that point, it is likely that they're going to take a serious look at the market and determine whether they are satisfied with how the market has performed, but also if they're confident about the sustainability of Nigeria's wider foreign exchange regime. So that's something that we'll see happen sometime during this year.
But as we get into the first half of the month of May, today is the 8th. By weekend, we'll be doing 12, thereabouts. So then we have a few critical economic data in our inbox, which includes inflation, the first quarter GDP. We hope the MBS put that on the table, giving us some sneak preview into what we did last quarter, but maybe this quarter as well, and all of that. Sum this up together for us as an economist, Michael, and where does this take us in the new month as we get to this first half of the year?
Yeah, so as important as those statistics are, especially in terms of Q1 GDP, I think the defining day would be the conclusion of the Monetary Policy Committee meeting at the end of May, and whatever decision that they take on rates, as well as any forward guidance they give for interest rates for the rest of the year, because as you know, there's been a lot of speculation as to a cut at the May meeting. And that's something that would sort of represent a sort of quite important shift in policy from what we've seen in the last 2 years. And I guess some would say would hopefully propel a sort of higher level of growth than we've seen so far this year.
But what about the budget?
Well, so I think the budgets, we continue to wait for it. I always just like to point out that the 2017 budget should run to June. So we do still have a month before we start answering questions about how long the government is going to take, or the National Assembly is going to take before it ratifies the budget. But the word that has been sort of circulating is that hopefully it should be passed soon. That said, the challenges are there, but I think hopefully it's passed within the next month, and we begin to see the implementation of that. and most especially, we would hope that the budget execution process is not affected too much by pre-election considerations.
Okay, so let's take it all the way down, put it all in a basket for us, Michael. And will this be very true? Should we sell in May and go away? Should investors sell in May and go away? Will they sell in May and go away?
Well, I don't think we're going to see significant sell-offs. I think the market has calmed already. People are in a wait-and-see mode more than anything. So Nigerian stocks are still relatively undervalued. There's still tremendous potential for the market. So if you are invested, I don't think it's necessarily a good time to sell. That said, because of the changes that we may see on the political and monetary policy front, it does make some sense to sort of wait and see how things pan out in the coming months.
Thank you very much, Michael Famuroti, Chief Economist at Vetiva Capital Management. We'll return back to everyone watching the show in 2 minutes. We'll be right back. Stay back, everyone.